Speaking of ignored warnings, a damaging new report shows the White House was warned about the growing immigration crisis along the U.S.-Mexico border as early as last summer. The report raised serious flags about the flood of unaccompanied children across the border and warned the situation was expected to get a lot worse. This report coming out just days after Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid described the border as secure. Well, that comment raised eyebrows and prompted this response from Senator Ted Cruz.
President Obama and Harry Reid, but both engage in debates divorced from the facts and divorced from the reality. Harry Reid lives in the Ritz-Carlton in Washington, D.C., and I'm sure from his perspective the border seems secure. I would invite Harry Reid to come with me down to Texas and see the border.
To our panel now, Pavlich, a Fox News contributor and a news editor for townhall.com, and Stephen Sigmund, former communications director to New Jersey Governor Jon Corzine. Thank you both. So last August, a team of experts observing an immigration station in Brownsville, Texas, were so alarmed by what they saw, they sent a 41-page report to the Obama administration. Now, that research by the University of Texas was funded by the Department of Homeland Security, but the Washington Post says that the warnings in that report were ignored. Steve, is this incompetence or a deliberate policy decision?
I don't think it's either. Look, this is a crisis that has certainly been brewing for a period of time. You have horrific and unspeakable violence going on in Honduras and Guatemala, where 11-year-olds are fleeing because they're threatened with being killed and raped. And what you need is a comprehensive solution that deals with it as a humanitarian crisis. What you don't need is ad hominem attacks like Ted Cruz is launching instead of actual political solutions. And the Obama administration, I wish he'd treated this more as a humanitarian crisis, but at least has put a solution on the table that increases border security and increases adjudicating these cases at the border.
Katie, even earlier than that, in early 2012, Texas Governor Rick Perry wrote a letter to President Obama citing a 90% increase in unaccompanied minors arriving from Central America and urging, quote, immediate action because every child allowed to stay encourages hundreds more to attempt the journey. That's Rick Perry in April 2012. Politics involved here?
Oh, absolutely. President Obama, and if you look at this report that the Washington Post discussed, you take a look at what the agents were saying, and the agents warned about this and said that the administration was more focused on what Stephen just mentioned, which is comprehensive immigration reform, and therefore they ignored this problem, which President Obama created through his own policies for two reasons. A, they wanted to get their comprehensive immigration reform through, and B, they didn't want to draw attention to the fact that Barack Obama's deferred action program created a crisis which we're now seeing come to a boiling point. And on the issue of, Stephen saying that this is a bunch of children coming to flee violence, actually there's an intelligence report out showing that a bunch of interviewing these people, and the vast majority, over 90%, said that they're not fleeing because of violence. They're fleeing because they're coming here because they know that they're going to get amnesty if they can just get their foot in the door, which we're exactly seeing with the way that they're being handled through Border Patrol and through ICE and through the lack of interior enforcement.
Steve?
They don't know they're going to get amnesty. In fact, the fact that we know they're coming means that they're being stopped at the border. And secondly, the notion that 90% are not fleeing violence, somehow Katie knows that these 11 and 12-year-olds who are trying to be recruited into the narcotics trade are not fleeing violence. We're seeing stories of it all over the place, and somehow she knows that they somehow know Washington's immigration reform policy debate better than they know what's going on in the violence in their own homes. Seems a little bit absurd. If you take a look at this intelligence report that these intelligence officers did, asking children who are here illegally, who came as a result of this new wave, they will tell you in these interviews that they are not fleeing violence, as media reports have incorrectly stated. They are coming here because they know if they get their foot on the ground, they will be able to stay, and we've seen that exact thing happen. Okay, you so look at the numbers in 2012. If that were true, then the Republicans ought to support the president's plan to actually deal with this problem at the border and adjudicate these situations right now. A $3.7 billion plan. A $3.7 billion plan that he laid on the table 2 weeks ago. Typical, that the Republicans money at the have done nothing about. It's Stephen, not throwing money at the problem.
Guys, we got to leave it there. I'm getting a wrap. Steve Sigmund, Pavlich, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks.